Can Iowa absolutely beat Oregon at Kinnick? And why Oregon should be a little bit terrified of what it's going to face defensively, given what we know about Iowa, given what we know about Kirk Ferentz, and given what the Ducks have shown in 2025. What's up, kid folk? It's RJ Young. I am not on a step mill. If this is your first time watching Adapt and Respond, thank you for joining us here. We talk college football year round. If you're into that, go ahead and hit that subscribe button, like this video, and answer the question in the comments below. Do you think that Iowa can pull off the upset against number 9 Oregon on Saturday? This is a big and monumental game that is not being treated like a big and monumental game. Yes, there's a bigger game on the calendar if you're looking at Texas A&M versus Missouri, and I understand why you would say that. A&M is undefeated. Missouri has 2 losses, and Missouri could upset the SEC by taking a win off of a team that looks like one they could beat, and Missouri has played their 2 lost opponents closely. Vanderbilt narrowly beating them, and Alabama narrowly beating them. Maybe it's the same thing. I think that same sauce can be applied to the Oregon Ducks traveling to Iowa City to play Kirk Ferentz's Iowa Hawkeyes. Now, a lot of things can be said about Iowa. One is, come hell or high water, come Armageddon or the Great Flood, Noah and his 2x2, Iowa's going to win at least 8 games. That's just what's going to happen. Now, as I hit my microphone again, one of the things that I would really like you to take into account is just who Iowa has shown itself to be in Kirk Ferentz's tenure, and more importantly, who they have shown themselves to be with Phil Parker calling the defense. I don't mind telling you, Phil Parker is my favorite defensive coordinator that nobody talks about. Like, the way that I was standing on the table years ago for Marcus Freeman on this very show saying the defensive coordinator at Cincinnati needs to be a head coach, well, see how that's worked out for Notre Dame. The way that I have been standing on the table telling anybody that listens, yes, if you give Brent Venables a defensive personnel that is worth its damn, I mean, if it's worth its 4-star rating composite, yeah, they're going to be pretty good. That's how I feel about Phil Parker and his defense. And if you look at the personnel that he's put out here, even in the last 3 years, you would come to believe the same thing. Is the best defensive coordinator to never, ever coach for a national championship. And as Kirk Ferentz is the winningest coach in Big Ten history, you got to wonder what the hell it is going to have to happen on offense for it to catch up to the defense. And frankly, it's going to have to be Kirk Ferentz changing the way that Kirk Ferentz does business. He does not like throwing the football. He really does not like throwing the football. As a matter of fact, when talking about that 2009 team that was so good at Iowa, one of the things that he laments is that they throw so many interceptions. Like, hey, man, that's one of your most prolific offenses of all time. It's like, I don't care. We turn the ball over. He belongs in the era of the wishbone, right? Like, that's what it is. I think Kirk Ferentz, at his core, would love to run the bone and play his defense. But he's got Phil Parker calling his defense, which is pretty damn good. So what do I know about Phil Parker, and what do I know about Oregon? I know that Oregon's best win is no longer any good, right? Number 2, Penn State, at the time that they played them and beat them in double overtime in Happy Valley, has lost 5 straight. Never mind that Oregon got them started on this losing streak. Nobody wants to remember that part. And you know what? I kind of understand. I kind of get it. Penn State ain't any good. And then when you look at Oregon, what's their best win? Well, you might argue that it's a loss, right? It's a 10-point loss to Indiana at home. Indiana came into Autzen and did what Ohio State could not do last year, and that is thump Oregon 30-20. If you think that last year's team is better, Oregon, than this year's team, Oregon, then yeah, you probably think there's something to, okay, Oregon's not as loaded as they were last year. And I think there's a lot to that, actually. To start with Dylan Gabriel, and then you can keep going from there, right, with Tez Johnson. But I think if you keep it even a little bit more close, you can take a look at what Iowa's been able to do against outstanding offenses. Take Indiana, for instance, who they played 20-15. They sent pressures. And I don't just mean like simulated pressures. I don't mean 5- and 6-man blitzes. I mean the house. They sent everybody they could that wasn't matched up man-to-man. That's called a cover 0, kids. And they were unabashed about coming after Fernando Mendoza and saying, okay, can you hold up? Can you stand there and get pelted like Kurt Warner or Mark Bulger and a Mike Martz offense as we keep coming after you? And they got a turnover late doing just that. If you time them up right, and if you have fast players that can get home, you can really wreak havoc just sending more guys than they can block, making the quarterback stand there and, okay, it's coming after me again, over and over and over again. But what you have going for you if you're Iowa also is your offense, believe it or not. Iowa averages 3.5 yards per game when they win. Let me say that again. Iowa averages 3.5 yards rushing per game when they win. Okay. Couple that with Oregon has a pretty good rush defense, but it's giving up 3.3 yards per game. All you got to do is get to 3.5 yards per carry if you're Iowa, and we get to more or less mark you as a winner. It's not just the 20-15 loss against Indiana. It's stomping out Minnesota 41-3. You know who else stomped out Minnesota like that? Ohio State. So if you want to believe in the College Football Playoff Selection Committee's gorilla math, yeah, Iowa is the number 20 team in the country. I don't think they are. I don't even think they're a top 25 team. However, they can shut me up and others with an upset win against a paper tiger number 9, according to some. Folks are going to look at Oregon and go, who the hell have they beat? Who have they played? Well, who they're going to play now is on the back end. We thought it was Penn State. We were wrong about that. Then it was Indiana. They lost to them by double digits. Now they're going to have to do it against Iowa, Washington, and I believe SC. And if you are that kind, you can easily see how this could go Iowa's way, but not only if they can run the football, but if they can throw it. Like, as much as I thought that Mark Gronowski was going to be the guy that could 100% bring Iowa into the 21st century with a pass-oriented offense, it just ain't been that. He's basically their best rusher. I also think that's part of what Kirk Ferentz wants. He never actually wanted this dude to throw the football in the first place. But if Iowa's going to win, it is because they control the clock and their defense more or less pitches a shutout. They make it difficult for Oregon to move the football. And what Will Stein is probably going to try to do is beat that blitz with misdirections and easy throws. You don't want to have to make your quarterback look off of more than one receiver. You want him to have a clear read where he's going with the football when he sees the pressure coming, and you want those wide receivers to know what their sight adjustments are quick, fast, and in a hurry. This is not the kind of defense that is going to need time to pattern match. They're not going to take it. They're going to play man, they're going to play bump and run, and they're going to come after you old-fashioned way. If you can beat them with explosives and get ahead of them by double digits, you can beat Iowa. Iowa cannot win a game where they're behind by double digits unless you give them back the ball. And I don't expect Will Stein and Oregon to do that. I expect them to run the football with a double-digit lead. Now, there's such a thing as taking off the gas in the third quarter and the fourth quarter and letting your opponent back into the game by just simply ceding the ball to them in plus territory. But I also think that that's something you can't really plan for until after you find out how you're getting played in the first half. All to say, yes, Iowa can win this game. But will they?